Grizzly 2, this is Grizzly Actual. You approved to level the building. Over.
Welcome to Soft Bad Monkey, a safe space for savages. This podcast is comedy. We don't discriminate. We don't care about your race, religion, sexual orientation, or gender identity. We make fun of everyone equally. We are veterans, offensive by nature, so if there's kids in the car, turn us off. Seriously, I'll wait. We've evolved. It's still JD and Uncle Steve, but now we have Paulie. As for Jay, he's fluffing on man porn. We talk like we are in the team room, platoon space, or whatever you call it. We're meat eaters and knuckle draggers, so put on your fucking helmet because we're coming in hot. Cool, welcome to another episode of Soft Bad Monkey with your host, Jason Delgado.
And Steve Ralston.
And Paulie, the fucking leather something.
Tool?
Leather tool. No smoking cigars till almost fucking done because that shit makes me sick. And we got Harold over here who you can't see. And fucking special guest Ron Pastino today.
What's up, Ron?
Hey, guys. Honored to be on.
Honored to have you on,
We're
brother.
happy to have you. Paulie's starting a fire over here behind the scenes. He's throwing fucking hot coals from the hookah all over the place. Thank God we got a tile floor. Harold, don't put your nutsack on that, okay? No, Harold's weird like that. You got to watch him. No, anyway, Ron, fucking 24 years as a cop, 6 years in the Army. So the reason he's on is because he's got 30 years of fucking service to our great nation. And the cop is the worst job ever. You know what I'm saying?
Nowadays, it's pretty rough. I'm sure, you can speak on this more than we can.
Obviously.
Back in the day, I'm sure you guys, learning a new career and, grinding your teeth and all that as it comes with any industry. But I feel like it's different now. It doesn't matter what stage of officer you are in. It's just you're on thin ice. It's so thin right now.
They're doing everything they can to fucking make the cops damn near fucking impotent. You know what I'm saying? Everything.
Yeah.
I think it's disgusting.
It's extremely complicated now, guys, as we all can see. When I retired, it was about the end of when, the full trust was in law enforcement and, the heyday, like hunting bad guys and doing the right thing for the citizens. And, I really, my heart goes out to my old team and all the law enforcement folks out there now. And including fire and EMS, they're taking some heat too, believe it or not, and they never used to. So, and they're trying to really friggin' hire more people. I had recently heard somewhere that over 70 departments showed up at a trade show for a job fair. I never used to actually see maybe one at a job fair.
Interesting.
70 around the country showing up at job fairs. So, that's a clue on what's going on in the nation.
Well, I'm thinking when we get a little bit more conservative individuals running this fucking country, that shit'll change. We'll get back to some real law and order and some shit that we need here to make this fucking America again.
I agree with you. It's almost like the scenario to where you have the parents that just let the kids do whatever the hell they want, eat whatever they want, and eventually the kids are going to want some sort of structure and feel comfortable around discipline and structure and organization. I think as a people, as a society, we're leaning towards that now. We've been living in a destabilized, and morally robbed society for a couple of years now, and I think we're all waking up into something we don't recognize anymore, and we do not like it. I think that's across the board. Doesn't matter what race or color you are.
Yeah, no, I'm there with you. It's an uphill battle. I hope we can turn this around.
No, we absolutely can. And like dogs, you know what I mean? Like if a dog doesn't know who's in charge, it's going to be scared and fucking bite everyone. So I think that's what's happening to the citizens right now. I want to start this interview off a little bit differently. Ron is absolutely convinced he's going to live to 100. So I want to hear about that, Ron. First, I want to know why that you would make that statement. And two, I want to know the steps that you're taking to get there.
I appreciate it, Steve. And it's the truth. I mentioned that to you a few times, and I've been trying to get it out there to folks. I spent 7.5 months on the pile at 9/11 after the second plane hit the tower. Our special operations response team with the state police went down to what we thought was going to be rescues and ended up not being that, just recoveries. So we did a rotation down there with, evidence recovery and also sensitive security assignments in and around the city and the pile. So year 15, 2016, I was in top shape. I love fitness. You had to be in top mental and physical shape to be on our team, which handled all the tactical operations for the state of New York at the state level. And I went for a short 3-mile run near my office in Albany, near state police headquarters. And for some odd reason, it just felt freaking hard. I just felt like I was breathing, like having trouble breathing. I couldn't get my legs going. I just did not feel right. The following day, I'm like, maybe it was just, cumulative lack of sleep from operations. So I went and did the same run the following day, same thing, which was odd for a 3-mile run for, somebody that was in my type of shape where, we could do PT one day and we're going to do an 8-mile run and nobody's really prepped for it. You just smoke it. That's the caliber. So I decided to go to the, my personal doctor. And I just did not feel well. And he put me through a myriad of tests, blood work, and then prescribed a CAT scan. Thought it was the heart. So go up, do the CAT scan. 2 days later, I get a call from my doctor. And good thing was I had no issues with my heart. Heart was excellent. But on the periphery of the scan, they found lung nodules in my lungs, which freaked me out when the nurse told me. I was like, what? Like,
yeah, anytime anybody says fucking nodules about anything, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, and I've never smoked. I just total person of health. And so, my doc knew I spent 7.5 months down there. I had some lingering sinus effects, some skin allergies that developed from the protracted time in that chemical environment.
Were you wearing a fucking mask or anything down there or what?
I'm sure there was a mix between no mask and mask, because I'm sure when you responded, you had to do what you had to do, and the mask was a convenience that probably came after, right?
Yeah.
Or was it a big fucking device? What was it you were wearing?
Yeah. So the first 3 days we had like the hospital mask, the simple dust mask. And actually we didn't get it till we got down there. So while we're walking down into the pile, we're breathing. And then, yeah. And interesting enough, and unfortunately, the folks that were in that contaminated environment, at least the first 3 to 4 days, that was when it was the worst. There's been a lot of civilian law enforcement, fire, EMS deaths just from that 3-day exposure. Correct. And I want to get this point across to everybody before I forget to mention it, is 9/11 is the longest acting terrorist event in history. It is still killing daily. It's killing it has killed, I don't know the exact number after the fact, but it's probably quadruple the amount that died on 9/11. And I'm part of a group that I see, I get an alert of one rescue worker passes away. Now, I always keep in mind that doesn't mean, that doesn't tell me the civilians that pass away that were living in an apartment near Ground Zero, near Battery Park, right?
Those that go with symptoms unrecorded because they're not associating their their
illness with anything.
Then you got
right.
No, so there goes. Yeah, you're right. There
they
must
just
be a
think
ton
they're fucking unlucky
of unreported
right.
numbers.
Yeah, there is, and it's in the thousands, unfortunately. So, us as a nation need to kind of remember that, man. Like, there are, hell, 12 people in my old agency are dead. And a lot of them were within the first 3 days of that exposure. They didn't spend much time down there. Now, our team spent a lot of time down there on the spec ops side. And, unfortunately, stuff like this happens. Now,
would respirators have prevented that with the correct filtration system or no? Because this shit gets in through your skin, gets in everywhere.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it helps prevent most of it, but here's the deal: is when we'd get off the pile, you'd walk a block away to go in a tent to eat or use the bathroom. Well, once you got to take your mask off, you're still in the exposed, and as I've learned and still learn, there's really cool holistic ways of detoxing the heavy metals, the chemicals and stuff from your body with some natural supplements that it's pretty cool, which is helping military folks, especially on the soft side, because they're shooting so much and they're around lead, right?
Yeah.
So they're using this holistic approach and these natural supplements. It takes a few months, but it will virtually, get the lead and chemicals out of your system. Well, guess what? Nobody knew that then.
Yeah. Before we transition off this topic, while we're here, I just want to put a pin in it. Is there a resource you prefer to go to get this kind of information, or where collectively, you have this accumulated or something to where we can go and see for ourselves?
Yeah, that's a great question. It took me many, many days and hours, I'll say weeks and hours, of scrubbing the internet, looking for assistance for myself, especially on the charitable end, because you hear about all these charities and, I needed a little help in a bunch of different ways.
Like Off-Gate Tunnel for Towers is one that advertises a lot on Fox and stuff like that. And, their commercials are very emotional, So
yeah, they're excellent.
Yeah.
And they offer support mainly on mortgage support. I needed health and wellness support and educational coaching. I needed nutrition. I needed mental health coaching, psychology.
Sure.
When you're used to being, on a tier 1 level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you feel like you're just a regular person. Not that I'm different from anybody else, but
now, shut the fuck up. What do you mean you're different? You just said that when you come out of a tier 1 unit or whatever tier, you're in some type of fucking special operations situation, or even you're coming from the battlefield somewhere and you come back and you join regular society. That's a fucking gigantic leap.
Yeah.
So it's not, you're not the same. You're not the same as the rest of the planet going on. You've had to fucking look behind the curtain, and that changes you. So
it certainly does.
So to say that you're not different, and I'm not scolding you or any bullshit like that, but there is a fucking difference between a tier 1 cop fucking special operator than a regular citizen. That goes without saying. But the same thing across the board. So when you're not doing that anymore, there should be some type of transition process. There's a decompression process. There's a reintegration process. There's lots of shit that should happen that just fucking doesn't.
I always like to highlight, too, myself personally, that individuals that have served in the military in a war capacity or in a capacity where they witness atrocities, then they get out and go into law enforcement. You have not unpacked your first stages worth of trauma yet, and you're jumping into another traumatic field, and you're not going to be able to unpack both of those freaking collections of traumas until you're pretty much done. So I could imagine that plus dealing with the ailment, from there on after 9/11, and then all the violence you've seen, and then in the military, and then dealing with the government and its shortcomings and all that, and then getting spit out into regular civilian life and trying to figure out, like, how do you move on knowing so much?
And then you're like, no,
true, man.
I'm sick, motherfuckers. You fuckers did this shit to me. Now I need some fucking help.
Yeah. So let me get into the how I figured this out and how I'm going to live to 100. And And it was a lot of freaking hard work, man, and perseverance and not quitting and not giving up. Had some dark moments, dark times like us all, right? But you just pull yourself out of it. So here's one for you. I go to a pulmonologist. I'm not going to mention the hospital, and it's upstate here. I go to the head of pulmonology with the CAT scan results after I get these lung nodules, and I'm freaking out. Like, I think I got cancer, this, that. And I go there and I get a fast track into the dude because we knew the ER docs and all that. And he's like, you know what? I don't think it's anything but a fungus from when you guys like enter barns and like the bird stuff. Like there's funguses that you get from, you know, these dusty barns from bird shit and all that. He goes, I think you're fine. I think it's probably something, you know, from doing protracted ops in rural areas, et cetera. But you know what? I trusted my gut. My gut said no. I spent 7.5 months down there. There's already at year 15, there's already unfortunately, a slew of people that already died from cancer and disease, right? Yeah. So I was my own self advocate. I didn't live in the box.
Yeah, you didn't buy the hype.
I don't do well in a box.
You didn't buy the hype. Yep.
You didn't drink the Kool-Aid. We're liking it.
Yeah. And I started to do my own research. My sister was helping me, and I'm like, I got to look down in New York City because that's where, you know, you hear about all the top docs. Long story short, we found the head of pulmonology at Weill Cornell. Weill Cornell is fucking badass, man. And I would recommend that to anybody who is really looking for top tier assistance. We get down there, and my doc, my new doc down there is like, hey, we got to get you into surgery ASAP. You probably have lymphoma. You definitely have a lung disease, and you got 2 holes in the bottom of your lungs.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
So it wasn't fucking bird shit fungus after all, right?
No.
What a dickhead. Did you go back and punch him in his face?
No, but I mean, I think the guy, the word probably got back, and yeah. Anyway,
it's like the whole bat pooping on a pig started the COVID thing, kind of.
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so, what is it with animal poop you guys always revert to? What's going on?
Yeah. Do my first surgery, which they went down in through my throat. They took 40 tissue samples out of both lungs, and it felt like a freaking rat was sent down in there. They verified the disease, but they couldn't verify the cancer or not. So they had to do the full-fledged lung surgery. So that was a month later. And in between that first surgery, I was still doing ops around the state, because that's what you do, right?
You're still working. Yeah.
You're right.
And at this point, I'm sure you're at a leadership position or of some capacity.
I was.
You have deliverables. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the major surgery came where they went in through the side of my chest. They took a quarter of my right lung out. And as soon as they opened me, and they took a bunch of lymph nodes out that's how they truly verify if you have cancer or not. They actually have to put the tissue under a microscope. So I was pretty hacked up, and got through it. Had a lot of support from my team and others down there, my NYPD brothers and sisters, and verified not lymphoma, just bona fide freaking 9/11 specific lung disease.
God damn.
What does that mean?
It takes a long, I've learned a lot. It takes a long time in the medical world to label a disease specific to a scenario. So I don't even know. And my doc had told me, he says they're probably never going to name it a 9/11 inflammatory disease because everybody's aging out or dying. Yeah. So after we're all gone, it's not a thing anymore, right? Yeah. Unless there's another collapse somewhere, and they you know, whatever. But
so it's
it's like moving a battleship, man.
So it's a specific variant of a particular disease that is only found through the trace elements that occurred in 9/11.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. Yeah, and then the two holes is called focal emphysema. It's pretty cool. I didn't know the body did this, but well, I kind of did because during meth lab class, you'd see it like when people are meth, they have all these pitted arms. It's their body trying to get rid of the chemicals. So that's what my lung was trying to do. My lungs, all the dust and debris that settled at the bottom, it created a hole to try to get it out of there.
Wow, that's nuts.
God
yeah, pretty
damn.
cool, man.
That's cool.
So your body
Yeah.
just tried to spit that shit out on its own.
Yeah,
Wow.
Unfortunately, in doing so.
yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So at the time, I could have stayed, but when you have shortness of breath, which you both know, you're not going to make good decisions, man. Like, and I was one of the top guys on the team for statewide operations, and I don't want to make a bad decision and it could cost somebody's life, right? So I decided at the time, and they still truly like, we don't know if this is going to turn into cancer in a month. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to retire. I'm going to, throw in the towel, which was very hard.
Yeah, but necessary, because if something popped up on you in an emergency situation, and like you said, you're in that leadership capacity, the turnover wouldn't be so well, and things could get lost in translation. Very responsible of you, brother.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Very, very hard, because that agency and team was my life. Yeah. I believed in it. I worked very hard to make it the best, and always seeking self-improvement for the team, and making it better, and making it hard always, because if it doesn't feel hard, you're not doing it right, in my opinion. So I went into the training sector. I had a job offer at a company called Oak Grove down by Fort Bragg on the special operations end. I went and did that for a couple of years as the law enforcement program manager. I helped out with international training, and it was interesting. And it was still within my lane. And then during that period of time, I'm, just scrubbing the internet, learning about holistic supplements. And I didn't know what I didn't know. And here's the thing, guys. Even like my main doctor at Weill Cornell, they're medical doctors. Mm-hmm. They're trained in a box, right? And even though Weill Cornell stretches that box and are a little bit outside the box, they're a rarity out there. And even those guys are kind of limited, because their scope of practice is pharmaceutical medicine. But one thing I always knew is high level of natural supplements like vitamin D, vitamin C,
elderberry, stuff like that.
Yeah. Right after I retired, I was really having an extremely hard time, to the point where, I just felt like I was at the end. And I called a close buddy down at Fort Bragg, and within a week and a half, I was down at a place called Exos in Pensacola, Florida, which is a special operations not recovery, but
recuperation.
Recovery's the right word. Not rehabilitation, but you're going down there to decompress a little bit.
Yeah.
Go down there and talk to some guys about stuff and keep you from starting your fucking pistol.
Much necessary.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So it really turned me around. That's where I had a nutritionist assigned to me. I had a bunch of fitness coaches, the physical therapy, which I needed because, my chest was opened, and I had some motivational coaching. So I was down there for a month, and man, it got me back to where I was before the surgery, and my mind was straight, and just got home and, tried to become a civilian, man, it was hard. It took me at least 2.5 years to actually understand how to be a civilian, and not be what I used to be, which became my identity.
What you evolved to. Remember, you've evolved to this because longer than you were a civilian, you were this individual that served this particular purpose, that to where someone, we talked about this before many times, someone would diagnose you as being hyper aware as if it was an illness. I look at it as it's an evolutionary trait to where you're mitigating. You're a high tempo mitigator. You understand? So you're the type of person that walks in a room, and if you see a cup, hanging half off a table, you yourself will push it into the table more, even if it's not your cup, because you know it's gonna fall. Not a lot of people think like that. So you've evolved to something that it's no longer necessary in a world where, in a society where, we have that on button and it's hard to turn it off, and everybody's doing unnecessary things and it's irrational. It's very difficult to build a baseline. It's learning how to live all over again.
It's you said it right, Jason. It absolutely is. And hey man, it's been 5 years and I still every once in a while, have an issue like, but it's not that often.
What helped you? What was the epiphany you had that helped you with the day-to-day? And I only say that because hopefully this is similar to yours. Mine was learning how to be idle, learning how to just not do nothing and be okay with it. That's crazy when you think about it, because from young men, 18, 19, would join the military, then into law enforcement. Then, you flash forward, 25 years, and you've literally done something every minute of your fucking life, every day, every hour. You set up a course, you set up a trajectory, you set up a new team to join. You got missions, and in between that, you have so much to maintain. And now you become in positions of leadership, so now you're consuming yourself with other people's lives. I learned that learning to let go of all those things and learning how to just be me in my house, fucking sitting on my couch and not having to get up and fucking go do something. That was a hard part. Hey, listen,
right on, that's cool.
This is great stuff. And I was telling Steve before we jump back on, not enough people talk about 9/11 and the first responders and the things you guys went through there on after. We all hear about it in blurps on the news, but this is in depth, and this is something that's refreshing to me, different.
Yeah, thanks. That means a lot. It's hey man, like I have bad days even now, but I've learned how to better deal with them. And I got a coaching staff that looks after me through Boot Campaign, which is a charitable organization, which you guys could certainly go through as well. And Warrior Wellness Solutions out of Raleigh, awesome crew, total godsends. Like there's some good folks out there that really help me become less cynical.
Yeah.
Like actually there's some good people out there.
You don't have to explain yourself.
Now we get that shit, man. We get that shit.
So staying home or being in the civilian sector, what was it that helped you?
So let's go back what you said. I totally understand what you're talking about. Go, go, go. And what you did for years. And I believe me, I understand that. I was on call for 18 years straight. And the only time somebody on the team where you weren't on call is if you're out of state on vacation, or, your wife gives birth and extraordinary circumstances. So being on the hook that long, hey, you don't realize the stress until after you retire, until the light switch goes off. And believe me, when I retired, it was like an absolute light switch. I mean, I'd get a phone call here and there from a teammate and some colleagues, but it was a hell of a lot less than when I was on the team. And that go, 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 constant exhilaration of the missions and the challenge. I miss hunting people. I miss man hunts. I miss all of it because it really exercised your mind. We were true professionals, and we wanted to solve this without anybody getting hurt and putting bad guys away. So that was a lot of fun. To go into an absolute halt, it certainly let me know that it was my identity. It became who I was, and one thing I want to tell you guys is, and I think we all need to be honest with ourselves, especially anybody that's serving the country, military, law enforcement, fire, or EMS, is the coaching staff down at Exos told me that forget about your career, forget everything else. I want you to talk about you. You're Ron the man.
Yep.
Ron the man. And when my coach was telling me this, I was like, it was so foreign to me because it had to do with me. And you know how we are. It's always about others and the team, and you're just focused on the task at hand, and the mission,
like
right?
an NFL player almost. The talk of team, we so much it carries all the way into their the 30s and the 40s. It's hard for them to break that down.
Exactly. So I was intrigued by it. I was like, wow, I never actually thought about it like that, and I need to be comfortable and confident in myself beyond that career that became my persona, right?
It took over 100% of your machinery, not allowing you to flourish who is inside there. You put it to the back burner, correct?
Yeah. Now, a little bit further on the show, I want to bring up, I came up with a couple things that can kind of mitigate that in government service at a young age, so you don't end up in a scenario like me and others to where it's your identity.
That's very valuable. That's very valuable to hear. Yes.
And I'll tell you right now, so we don't miss it. One thing I highly recommend to young folks getting into government services, get a hobby outside of that career. Totally. 100%. Whether it's art, whether it's carpentry, whether it's in no shame, plumbing, be like embrace something else other than this career, because
and with that, you also, I just don't want to leave this point, very important point, because you already have a career and you're good at it. So find something you love and flourish that. Yeah.
Yes. And that something that you love will help it, when you decide to retire, and, or I didn't just, I pretty much had to go, right? So I didn't leave really on my own terms. And that still bothers me to this day, because I don't know what it's like to leave on my own terms, because I would have still been there today, still, running ops. I missed it that much. I miss it that much. How did I, what was the epiphany for me to really become a civilian? Was really, it was just over time. It was step by step, week by week. It was kind of like I'm starting to downgrade. All right, pressure's, it's like a pressure cooker going boom, boom, pressure's releasing. And all of a sudden, after about 2.5 years, like one day I just wake up and I'm like, I don't know if I'm good. I actually like being a civilian. And I tell my old teammates, I'm like, you know what? I like being a civilian now because I can drink a beer at lunch. So that was going around a team like, hey, because obviously you're not drinking on duty there, and I'm like, hey, well, I got a civilian job and I can drink on duty. So who's got it better now?
I got a saying I like to throw around here a lot. Young men for war, old men for counsel. So it's almost as if that is your next evolution in what we are as warriors. So now that'll be, as far as the capacity in which you'll dabble in the industry. Now you're sought after for advice, sought after for mentorship and things of that nature, and that's where you come in and make an impact as well. And it kind of gives you that same feeling.
And I'll tell you, Jason, that gets my juices flowing, because me trying to help other folks in our positions out younger, and I don't want them to struggle like I did. And there's some protocols and key facts that I've learned and organizations they can take advantage of that will catapult them into their time into learning to be a civilian, I would say within a year, which
Correct.
took me 2.5, 3-ish. So, and also may save their life, i.e. medical and or suicide. And, bring up suicide. I came up with a saying because we all need to actually love and embrace life is don't rush the forever. It's about prolonging the not forever. And another thing we always did in Spec Ops, right, is always had contingencies, right? Plan Bs. So why not have a plan B if you have a dark moment? Is what's your happy spot? We're on Earth where if like, hey, I have a bad moment, but I'm just going to go enact this contingency in plan B because I know that'll keep me going. So like mine is like, I'm going to Miami Beach and I'm going to sell hot dogs.
That's
like,
fucking pimp.
Man.
That's
like
pimp.
Fucking sling some hot dogs. And
I love hot dogs.
Yeah. Fuck it, man.
Nathan's a Sabret.
I like Sabret.
Okay, cool. I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
I like them both. Fuck it.
Yeah. So coming up with contingencies like that. I mean, look, get out of the box, man.
Yeah.
The box is what holds everybody up. And the identity crisis of operators and law enforcement leaving their careers and not adjusting well.
Correct.
So,
I equate that to another thing that we discuss here a lot. And then when it comes to suicide, it's a big topic amongst our individuals, our people. And it's perspective is what we're talking about, how to deal with all these things that affect us, psychologically. And it's just a matter of perspective. If you really look at it, what we're talking about, how to deal with, life there on after, it's all purpose. Where do you find your purpose? Perspective. So
right.
The same thing with suicide. One thing is for sure, 1,000%. As day rises and the sun sets and it gives birth to the night, we're all going to die. Why rush it? It's going to happen. And if you're at the point where you just want to kill yourself and who you are, you can do that, metaphorically, and find somewhere, someone, or some peoples in this place that could use an able-bodied man. Take your ass to fucking Doctors Without Borders or fucking go to Africa and build wells. We got plenty of brothers that have 501c that go and purify water in, disaster areas and stuff. Join one of those and just stay working around the clock. Go and help someone out. Find that inspiration, or just count down the time, but be of service to someone else other than yourself. If you're going to do it, fine, take it out. But take it out egotistically. Take it out metaphorically. But this physical self, this physical body, there is some child out there. There is a group of people out there that need you, your logic, your warrior ability, and your ability to just make nothing out of something. You are necessary. Just find that. Just find that. And what is insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same outcome. You got to switch it up like you're saying. You got to switch it up.
So we have lost, all of us have lost multiple friends to suicide, unfortunately. My road partner, when I was a young trooper getting in foot pursuits and, in the heyday, probably the funnest part of my career, my midnight partner, a couple of years ago, committed suicide because he couldn't adjust to retirement. Now, after, like, I never saw it coming. And I still am bothered by the whole thing. One thing, as I talked to his wife after the fact, is he was on multiple antidepressants from going to counseling. And I go, there it is right there.
100%.
There it is. When like, that's another gut meter, is like, why are they, putting people on multiple antidepressants You don't know what these chemicals are
Down
doing.
anyway. They don't make you feel up. It's not like they're giving you MDMA. Now, if they were giving you MDMA, that's a different story. But they're giving
Right.
you depressants to heal a depressant. You've ever taken
Right.
any type of Oxy or Xanax or any of that? It literally shuts the nerves off in your face, and makes you feel droopy and sleepy and stupid. That's what I felt like before I got into this. What are you guys doing?
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to bring that up is if you start seeing like docs prescribing multiple things of the same,
They're incentivized. We all know
that's a
this.
freaking clue to stop.
We all know this. They're incentivized to do this and overprescribe in these projects, these experimental psychological projects that they sign you up for, where they want to go into aggressive therapy and up your medication. And what are you talking about? I need none of those things.
Yeah. So
Fucking smoke some weed and go to the fucking gym. Come on.
Man,
hey, plant-based medicine, all the holistic stuff from
I agree.
my experience and is the way to go. Period.
I agree.
So,
So I just want, I don't want to make an assumption, but that what is most personal is universal. You've mitigated. Mitigation is a word I kind of want to unpack here. Mitigation is to prevent something that you already have enough information or consistency, knowledge through consistency to mitigate for, to prevent. So that means you know yourself. You have to acknowledge your shortcomings. You have to acknowledge your anxieties and what triggers you in order to mitigate for said things. And this never stops. So the reason why I say I don't want to assume, but it'll probably be good to hear if it is the case. If not, fuck it, you're the man, bro. But you still deal with these demons. We all do. They don't never go away. I think people need to understand that. Don't expect them to go away. It's mitigation, and it's through consistency and learning yourself is how you're gonna get through these things. But accepting is as a part of you, a part of your evolutionary, growth.
yeah, no, that's exactly it, Jason. They don't go away. They are mitigated. That's a great way of saying it. And having a protocol set up within yourself and knowing when you start to get a little bit of unsettling feeling, you already have the plan for that. So, I'll tell you mine, like daily workouts. I don't, and I think we are all like this. And what we used to do is, exercise and getting out and getting some fresh air, taking a walk, and then eating healthy. And hey man, like overdoing alcohol is not good, man. I'm not saying don't have alcohol, but
Yeah, we don't like alcohol on this side over here. It's another one of those things, curing a depressing illness with a depressant, it doesn't make sense.
No, it's mathematically impossible. You can't fucking cure
In fact,
depression with the fucking depressant. Come on.
for my brothers from the Marine Corps that are now in blue, and for all the other officers out there doing their damn thing, I cannot wait till they're allowed to fucking smoke weed.
Right.
Because the alcohol is killing a lot of my fucking brothers on the job. Because remember what we said, they were not allowed to unpack their first fucking life's traumas, and now they're dealing with a whole slew and myriad of others. I would like for them to not have to keep turning to that fucking piece of shit bottle. It's destroying them.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So on the mentorship, support, that's what I want to do. That's what I've been trying to do, with, my own podcast, do the Pastino show, and kind of being a team together and learning together. And Steve and I were speaking the other day is like, hey, it's perseverance. It's just, it's like Groundhog Day. You got to embrace the Groundhog Day, actually, not like, you just got to learn to embrace it and come up with your protocols and
exercising vulnerability, not being in control of the moment you're not in control of, just riding that energy wave, letting go, relinquishing. You're going to come out of it, but you can't fight it. If you fight it, it's going to be the worst fucking ride ever.
Yeah.
Well, it's don't let a fucking bad 45 seconds ruin your whole fucking day.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is,
There you go.
what we're saying is to get past that point where it's even a possibility for a bad 45 seconds to ruin you, because you acknowledge that bad 45 seconds is coming, and it's always going to come, but it always goes away. You have to acknowledge it always goes away.
Yeah.
While you're in it, just know it always goes away.
Eventually, it's gonna go away. You know, life sucks. Fucking put on your helmet.
It's like dealing. It's like dealing with anger issues. You know, instead of speaking when you're emotionally in the moment, wait until the emotion subsides, and if you can rationalize saying that thing again, then fucking rock on. But if not, then you go. You were just about to speak emotionally. It's the same shit. Just wait until you're not in that wave no more, that funk. You know.
Hey, Ron, I want to hear about some of the vitamins and shit that you take every day, some of the natural supplements.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up, Steve. So I gained a lot of weight after my second surgery because of the inflammation. And hey, man, I drank a lot too, to ease a lot of emotional and physical pain.
If you were able to smoke, would you have smoked?
Sure.
Lung disease, though. Lung disease.
Oh yeah, I forgot, man.
Edibles, goddammit.
Edibles. There you go.
Yeah, I didn't know much about them either then. I do now. And we could talk about that as well.
Right on.
So 2 years of trying to find who I really was, who Ron the man was. And I drank a lot. I still tried to work out, but I couldn't get back to my fighting shape, which was around 175, 170-ish. So I was up to like 190, 195. So that's a lot of weight for my stature. I'm about 5'9". And I just couldn't do it. And one day, the company that I was working for started a supplement business. And they came out with this product that was developed by DARPA for guys like you that were overseas to replace the 800 milligram ibuprofen that, many spec ops dudes were using to, take the pain away from protracted ops, climbing mountains, wearing heavy gear, etc. And key fact that as I learned a lot about all this is ibuprofen does the absolute opposite and high doses over a long time. So it actually becomes an inflammatory, not anti-inflammatory. So it was doing the reverse thing that everybody wanted. DARPA comes out with this. So DARPA goes to this scientific firm in North Carolina saying, we want it to mimic ibuprofen, but we want enhanced mental performance, and we want immunity, because when you're doing protracted ops, you get run down. You may get a cold, you get the flu, whatever, and you're in a dirty, dusty environment, right?
Always cold and wet.
Yeah. So you're bound to get sick if you're not eating right and getting your rest. So fast forward several years, mid 2000s, they came up with this product. Now, this product was made from the skins of fruit, skins of bilberries, which are from Northern Europe. So they're European blueberries. They have a thicker skin. Apples and green tea. So they mixed what they call polyphenols, which is in red wine. Steve and I were talking about that the other day. Is there's sections of France where people don't get cancer at all because of the polyphenols that they're eating. It's the skins of fruit. Now, we have all heard about when we were younger, hey, eat an apple a day, it keeps the doctor away. And I always blew that off. Well, about 2 years ago, I was like, holy shit, they were right. That actually is the truth. It's all about the skins, and they're the protective layer of the fruits and vegetables.
True.
So putting that in your body, your body turns it into a medical term, which I'm going to misspeak and say it wrong. It's almost like an osmosis, which becomes a very high potent anti-inflammatory. So I started taking this supplement, and there was a little fish oil in it and 100 milligrams of caffeine, and the fish oil and caffeine were to assist the delivery of the flavonoids into your body. I started taking it, and within 2 weeks, I felt like amazing. and I'm starting to do hikes at night, getting a workout in the morning. I'm drinking less. I'm eating less. I just felt great. And all of a sudden, like I could breathe. Was the key factor for me. I could breathe better. I felt like I didn't have a disability.
Interesting.
I felt like, holy cow, I feel I can go back on the team now. Like it worked. It worked so good. And I was like, wow, this is all natural. And they got me on all this pharmaceutical stuff and it didn't do anything for me. So that was what really, when I was like, it was codifying what I was thinking about natural supplements. Well, that was like the cherry on top for me. And then I got back down, and I'm still down to 170-ish.
So just to clarify, this was developed by DARPA.
Yes.
All right, just so the folks know who DARPA is, can you name some of the fields of research and industry that DARPA also deals with?
High-tech robots, cutting edge drones, mechanical chassis that soldiers wear.
So their business is in keeping soldiers fit.
Performance,
and performance, human agility and performance. I just want to clarify, this ain't Pfizer creating this. This is DARPA.
Right. Yeah.
That's all I wanted to throw out there. It's DARPA. It's got to be good.
Yeah.
Can you name it? What it is?
What's the name of it?
They shut the shut the company down.
Of
so
course,
it doesn't have a name anymore.
because they wouldn't allow them to give weight for COVID, so they had to shut them down.
So it was being sold commercially.
Yeah.
Under the product name Go Condition. So it was called Go Condition.
Okay. What is it? What are you using now?
Great question. So when I heard the company shut down, I was like, holy shit, I rely on this. And now I have enough stock to hold me over for a little bit, but not that long. So I'm now scrubbing the internet and YouTube, looking for similar products. And also to the point where I called back to that company, and the VP was a good friend of mine, and said, hey, because they licensed it from a holistic supplement crew out of Salt Lake, which is big in this, like that's where a lot of natural supplements are made, is in Salt Lake and up in Oregon. So I'm like, man, how much is the license? I'll buy the freaking license just to keep this stuff going, because it worked so well for me, and it worked well for others. A lot of ultra marathon athletes.
And that gives you something to do. Hell yeah.
Because it keeps the inflammation out. Now, the other thing that was in it is called quercetin, and quercetin is a flavonoid. So you could take quercetin, you can get it at a health food store and take it, and it'll work. But what DARPA found is when you mix flavonoids of tea. So again, this was thinking outside the box. It wasn't like, oh, here, just take this and we solved their problems. DARPA is outside the box, and they're like, no, let's start like playing with this recipe, and all of a sudden, wow, it worked. So I found some they're called Vital Reds, and they've been working really well for me. It's a powder that you take once a day, and I've been taking Miracle Greens, or it's called green juice, and all those flavonoids that I'm getting. And also I'll eat an apple a day to keep a doctor away, and but mainly for the skin of the apple.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the inflammation's being kept down just by the holistic end.
So I have a heavy question for you, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to take some time to unpack. 18 years, you said you were doing anti-terrorism stuff?
Yes.
18 years. And in what capacity fighting the enemy were you in the Army prior to that? What was your MOS?
6 years, and I was an MP, military police.
Got it.
Specifically, so it would assist me getting a law enforcement career.
Got it. All right, so fighting terrorism, 18 years. Personally affected in 9/11, emotionally, physically, and then a career, 18 years there on after fighting specifically due to the energy and the emotion acquired through 9/11, terrorists. How do you feel about the way we left Al Qaeda and the Taliban in Afghanistan?
Appreciate that question, Jason. I thought it was terrible. It was a terrible, like it wasn't even strategic what they did. It was on the intel side, detrimental to the U.S. not having a presence at Bagram Air Base. Should have kept the air base and a presence out there, in my personal opinion. And I'll bring up that my son is in the military, and he's actually currently deployed in the Middle East in a hot zone to Army Canine Handler. He was on that specific mission with the 82nd. He was one of the first. He was on the first plane back in and had to re-clear that air base with the Marines in 82nd. And he was one of 4 canine handlers assigned out there, Army canine handlers. And he was almost killed in the suicide bombing attack. He was close to that gate, and it was luck. So it was really a lot more personal for me, because when I got the news about that, I'm trying to get a hold of him, and I literally dropped to my knees and was tearing. And I learned something about myself then too. Is like when it's your actual son or blood, where, hey, we're used to actually making entries, and if there's some gunfire, you can deal with it. But when it's actually your family member, your son, and you have no control, you're not there, and there's some foreign land, it's at a different level, man.
Painful.
Yeah.
Especially when you're capable, and it's a difficult thing, man. It's a difficult thing to try to, like I said, just exercise that vulnerability. That shit is hard.
Yeah. So I feel let down, and I feel the U.S. is let down by that was a terrible decision. It's terrible policy. I don't believe that the political leadership is actually listening to the true military leadership giving advice, and or they may be listening, but just not even caring. So we losing ground there is huge, as we still lose 9/11 responders daily. I'm at a loss, man. I'm disappointed.
Speechless almost.
Yeah. I'm angry. I'm angry about it, because we did so much to gain there. We've lost many Americans over there, and our allies doing the right thing to keep the terrorists at bay and keep it over there, and develop the networks that you guys did. Now it just
sacrifice was for absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and that this over the horizon intel is smoke and mirrors, man. It's like, no, that you got to have people on the ground.
Actionable intel is actionable intel. That's all it is. And we've been acting off of actionable intel because there is a process to actionable intel. It must come from at least 3 different unrelated sources. So you're telling me from 3 verified unrelated sources, we're starting to get information about a wave, about this, about that, and we're going to sit on this. I'm just going to say it right now. It's my belief, my opinion, that everything at the administration level that's being decided, it's being decided for the absolute worst case scenario. It is an intentional destabilization of our society, or, whatever, wherever they're going. It must be intentional, because every terrible decision out of a whole myriad of decisions they can make, they make the absolute worst ones. Instead of leaving Bagram, they left through Kabul. It's like that didn't make any sense. Then turning over all the weapons instead of destroying them and running them over with tanks, tracks. We had all that. Leaving all the software, the bat system. Like, we had plenty of time to completely sterilize that area. And that wasn't done. And then working with Taliban the moment they stepped into the city to control the population. Like, it was very confusing. It was, we were working with Taliban to control the population. That was crazy. But just to see Taliban,
right?
just to see them right outside the gate, working, You know, like I just that was a terrible thing to witness. And
Yeah.
then to give them political power and authority after that, it was ridiculous.
No,
Yeah, and how do you give up a multi-billion-dollar U.S. embassy
you
and
don't.
give up
Yeah.
all the technology that is part of that building?
Yeah. All the money.
Where, you know, and
Well,
the
40
protective
billion, sorry.
measures that are part of that embassy, you
Mhm.
just gave to
Yep.
multiple foreign governments.
Is there anything else? Anything else you want to give us? Anything else you care to impart to maybe a younger generation? Because remember the reason why you had it so hard in your acknowledgement and your realizing and going through life there on after and all that. It's because you didn't really have any predecessors to what you did. Neither did we. So we
Yeah.
went through everything the hard way. But fortunately for the young men and women that are in this high-paced fight now that exist, that there is industry for, that there is a position for, that they're getting thrown into intelligence and snatch and grabs and all that good, cool shit. Now they have us. So that's the good thing.
Yes.
And that's where you're situating in your role to give them to extend that hand when they're ready to get out and tell them, listen, I got you.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. I had, and I got to skirt around some things here. A friend call me and saying that having trouble talking in a normal conversation. I don't know why. I can't come up with words. I'm forgetting words. And this is a very high level competent operator. And I go, I'll say, John, I know what you're going through, and I know what's causing it. And here's where you got to go to get help. And that stuff like that is from cumulative stress, from being on call and being traumatized for years and not taking the rocks out of your backpack that cumulatively go in there after each situation that you're in. And over time, you miss words, man. You can't remember things. It affects your physiological being.
Mhm.
It's physiological, truly.
Hanging on to things you don't need space for anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta unpack.
Yeah.
Gotta unpack and leave room for the new stuff. Well, man, I
Yeah.
appreciate you taking your time and kicking it with us. You got a lot of important things to say, a lot of new things to say. You enlightened us on the issues for first responders and 9/11. Appreciate that a bunch, man.
Yeah, right on, Ron. We appreciate you, and we're going to be singing out about your show. I'm going to do some research on you, and if you can, we'll be in contact. There's a couple things I want you to send to me so I can put them up when we put the show up, like the concoctions that you're taking every day, some of your workouts, and everything like that. And I'm going to hold you to that word, living to a fucking 100, man. Because you're only a couple years ahead of me. Oh no, you're 1 year behind me. So if you fucking do it, I'll be irritated because I'll be
man.
dead.
You look good for 70.
Yeah.
They're
So,
fucking
hey,
with you because I'm old.
yeah. High level multivitamins, a lot of vitamin D, vitamin C, minimum of 1,000 milligrams a day, fish oil. If you can afford twice a day, to take 4 pills. The flavonoids, everybody should be taking powdered flavonoids, the reds. And I know you have a teammate there that has a company that sells that.
Yeah.
Any greens and reds, holistic foods. It just came out. I'm part of a soft group, med group, that lets out the latest and greatest on longevity. 4 things it's proven to make your live long is better sleep, longer sleep where your body heals itself, physical exercise, diet, and meditation. You guys meditate?
Yes.
Every day.
Yeah. Meditation works. It's physiological. It refocuses you. I recommend iRest Yoga Nidra. Iris Yoga Nidra. You can get it off of YouTube. There's free apps for that. They have 8-minute ones. It's amazing how it resets your body. My coach Elijah, who and his wife are like trainers in that. if you do 20 minutes of yoga nidra, it's equal to 4 hours of sleep. So like you have a bad day going, put the app on, get 20 minutes in, and it just resets your body. This granola stuff, guys, granola works. Granola's like is what's going to prolong your life, not the pharmaceuticals. Now, there are certain pharmaceuticals that you will have to take, but try to minimize them.
Right on.
Rude with that. That's perfect. All right, Ron. Love you. I'll be in touch, and looking forward to further on projects.
Yeah, love you guys too. And
how do we find you on social media, real quick?
Yeah.
Got like 1 minute.
Do the Pastino Show, all one word.
Boom.
Do the Pastino Show. All right, we're gonna be singing it out, bro.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask you what your word is. One word. What's your word for who you became, who you are? Like my word's perseverance. What got me to where I'm at now? And that's the word. Some people. So I want you guys to actually be honest with yourself. Tell me what your word is, and that's what you'll see on our cast. Is it's a pretty cool format. It's just kind of delving in the words and believing in them and doing them.
Mine's is appreciative.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. I haven't heard that one yet.
No, gratitude. I'm with you on that deal.
Yeah, I wake up every morning and I'm appreciative that I feel appreciative, and I'm blessed that I could feel the sun on my face and still have my loved ones around me to where I could touch them. That shit is gold to me. Nothing else matters.
No, I'm with you, dude. I'm grateful for every day.
Hell yeah.
Every second of every day to still be here, for sure.
Oxygen therapy too, guys. Oxygen works. Live O2. You'll check on my social media. I got some stuff on it. My last guest last week is one of the head trainers. Most of your NFL teams use it, and it's just simple oxygen.
Didn't want to leave off on just saying oxygen. If it works for you, we want to do another show with you to where we actually talk about the times when you're fucking kicking doors in and shooting and looting and shit, running across rooftops with nods on and doing that shit, because we kind of went into the transition phase and then the recovery phase.
That would have been a long jump.
Yeah, 20 years of fucking special ops and now decompression. So
I'd love to, and I can come down there too if it's better for me.
Oh, fuck yeah, that'd be great. We'll come down and grab a steak or something. It'll be spectacular.
And the good thing is about that, what we just recorded, that we can give, the predominant topic the attention it deserves.
Yeah,
without taking away from it with any cool guy shit. You know what I'm saying? And then the next episode we could get into
the cool guy shit.
Cool guy shit. Some of the interesting things, and not have to worry about unpacking the emotional shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'd love to get into parenting. I got 3 successful kids because I invested in them, and I'm proud to say during my 30-year career with Mill and LE that I didn't have a hobby. My hobby was my kids, and I'm proud to say that. They were always in a museum. That we were always hiking. We were always, I was teaching them how to set fires, and man, I'll tell you what, it's paying off. Like, I'm freaking proud. They're kicking ass. I read a book, or I listened to a book called Outliers. You probably heard of it. It was big like 10 years ago. It went around the special operations circuit. Well, I'll save you a read if you didn't read it. Basically, the more investment you put into people, mainly your kids, the more successful they're going to be.
100%.
I'll save you a read.
100%.
It just validated like all the freaking hard work and effort that I put into those, my 3 badass kids. And then other people like, hey, subordinates, right? Invest in them, give them ownership, allow them to make mistakes and make decisions. When I would delegate, I believe in delegating in a very general fashion, because I like hiring people that are way better than me, because I'm actually a box of rocks.
Yeah.
I had some of the smartest folks I've ever dealt with, working for me, and they would come up with stuff. I was like, where the hell did you think of that? Like, that's a great idea.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, when it comes to leadership, if you find yourself micromanaging, that's counterproductive. Yeah, that's not the person for the job.
I didn't fucking hire you so I can do your job.
Yeah.
Right. There you go. Yeah. Wait, man, like it's prevalent out there. There's a lot of micromanagers.
Well, there's a lot of terrible leaders. I mean, look, we're talking about all the way up to the top of the administration. You know, a horrible leadership or no leadership whatsoever. Individuals in positions that are, of leadership that don't have the qualifications for it, nor have they been proven to be leaders. And then on top of that, the worst of it all, no accountability.
Well, dude, they fucking armed the Taliban, and now they're taking away law-abiding citizens' guns.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Come on. Leadership.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
So.
Character.
It's funny because every time we get to that topic, it's like everybody's at a loss for words.
Yeah, it's like, what?
Where are we? Is this real life? What are we waking up into every day? Jesus.
Retarded Joe and the whore.
It's almost like corporate world spread into the government.
It did. It's always been there because if you look at the way we acquired Hawaii, it was through Dole Pineapple. The way we acquired Puerto Rico was through Domino Sugar. So capitalism, the Rockefellers, J.P. Morgan Chase, all that, they've been behind the scenes pulling the strings since way back then. You know, look at the, like you said, the medical institution. We went from holistic drugs to petroleum-based drugs back in the 30s, and there was an effort from the Rockefellers to chastise and ostracize holistic doctors. And,
the Rockefeller Institute, absolutely.
Exactly. And then, same with a bunch of other things. You got the dental. Oh.
We got a situation.
Yeah, we got a situation. Anyway, that's God telling us to close it down.
Yeah, we're talking too much good shit.
Ron, we love you. We're going to get you down here. We have some steak, fuck around, shoot another show where we're talking about shooting and looting. And God bless you, man. Thank you for everything you do. We're going to be in touch. And also, I'm going to throw that video of Kaya jumping into the pool onto this show, and then we'll get some more for the next one.
That was his dog?
That's his dog.
Jesus, that thing jumped like 18 feet.
It was crazy.
Yeah. I love you guys too.
Right,
and
brother.
I'll leave it at this. Learn from your pets. They're we can all learn from them. If you get anything out of this, follow what your pets do.
I love it.
Yeah.
Peace.
Thank you, brother. Peace.
I put a sock on Pablo's foot so he wouldn't lick it, and he chewed it off. So I'm going to go chew my socks off.
Yeah, man.
Ready?
I love me some Bo.
All right. That's it, you filthy fucking meat sacks.